Before I get into the draft picks, I just wanted to address Antonio Gates real quick, and I apologize if I can't. I'm in so much draft mode right now, and a little bit fried from today. But so I don't want to. I want to make sure I give him enough credit for everything he did here, but I don't want to miss anything. But it's Antonio is not only one of the best Chargers of all time, but he's one of the best football players in the history of our game. And he has meant so much to this organization, both on the field, off the field, in San Diego, in Los Angeles. And we can't say enough about the type of person he is and player. And these decisions are really, really difficult. And put a lot of thought into, where this roster needs to go. And fully knowing that Antonio stepped in last year when we really needed him and played really well. And but as we're looking at it, and we really feel like, this is really Hunter Henry's time, and we need to get him even more involved than we had in the past. And we've got 4 receivers that we think are really talented. They're going to need to get the football. And we got 2 running backs, and we're looking at the type of opportunities that he's going to get. And that's not to mention Virgil Green, whose strength is his strength at the line of scrimmage, different role. But so we decided that it's probably time for us to move on with Hunter and let Antonio. His contract was going to expire this year, so. But like I said, those decisions are really, really difficult because he means a lot. And I've only been here for 5 years, and he's been here for 15, so he predates me by 10. So I was only with him for 5, but there aren't many guys like him that come along. And I've been doing this for 20 years. I've had a chance to be around some special players, some special Hall of Fame players, but I mean, nobody greater than what he did at his position, and then how he did it too, as far as the type of person he is, the type of worker he is. I'll never forget when I first took the job here. I was in the cafeteria getting food, and I said hello to him, and we talked real quick, and this is OTAs, and he was going at it really, really hard in OTAs, and I kind of asked him. I said, I love how you practice. Usually guys like you for OTAs kind of cruise through, and he's like, well, look, we got a new head coach, new general manager. I need to show you what I can do. I'm like, Antonio, I've seen you playing for years. I don't need to see what you need to do. We know what you can do. We got a lot of other guys. We got to find out what they can do. So, but that was his mentality every day. Like, he came in and worked like a college free agent, even though he's going to the Hall of Fame. And every day he was in the building. That's the way he prepared. And mentored our young players, not only offense but defense. I mean, I can't say enough about him. That's why these decisions are tough. And but as we're looking at how our roster needs to be constructed, it's just the way it had to go. So, like I said, I wasn't really prepared to go into this today because we're in so much draft mode, and my mind kind of gets all jumbled up. But I did want to say that. So, moving on to the second and third round picks. Chenin Nwosu from USC, linebacker. We see him as a strong outside linebacker for us, and then also a little bit of pass rush as well, where he can put his hand down on the ground in a 3-point and rush the passer. So he gives us some nice flexibility there to play linebacker and also use it as a pass rusher. We've got 2 really good pass rushers on the outside. You always need a third one, and we think he can help in that area too. And he's really tough. He's physical. He had a great year at USC this year, constantly around the football, whether it's making a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, affecting a play, getting his hands up, knocking a ball down at the line of scrimmage, getting a key sack on third down. I mean, he just showed up week after week after week. And, it's easy for us to take notice of him because we saw him a lot at USC. And the fact that he's local, I think, is pretty cool, but, that's not why we took him. But we think he can help our linebacker core and also help our defensive line with some pass rush. We thought there was great value there. And then in the third round, we drafted Justin Jones from NC State, interior defensive lineman. We think he can play both nose tackle and defensive tackle. They had an excellent defensive line at NC State this year, and he was one of the more productive players on their front. And he's a really good size, strength, but he plays really hard. And you think they would all play hard, but when you're big, sometimes those guys will take some plays off. This is a guy that doesn't do that. We also think he has some pass rush ability inside. I think it's going to take some work and development, but he has some of those skills with his quickness and ability to get off the ball and use his hands. We think he can continue to improve as a pass rusher, and he'll give us some depth inside on the defensive line. So it ended up going defense 1-2-3. It's just kind of the way it fell. And we had some discussions at different points on some other guys at different positions, but we ended up, defense, which isn't the worst thing in the world either. So I guess with that, I'll just open up to any questions.
I know you don't plan these things, but I think now it's 6 of your last 7 draft picks have been on the defensive side of the ball.
No kidding. I had no idea.
After Gus didn't get anybody in the first.
Just trying to keep Gus happy.
What did you like specifically about Nwosu's kind of? He came here on his off day to meet with you guys. Did you like that type of stuff too with him?
Actually, I did, and guys like him, he had done everything at the combine as far as workout. His pro day had worked out. We didn't need him to work out here, but the fact that he came over and still wanted to meet with our coaches, spend some time with us, that's pretty neat. And we don't get a lot of one-on-one time, FaceTime with these prospects. It's in the baseball draft, they can spend so much time with the families and the players and really get to know them. Our time is really limited. For a player like Chenin at USC, during the fall, you can scout him and look at him. You really can't talk with him very much, and that's the way it is almost everywhere. That's no different. In the All-Star process, you can talk with him a little bit. Combine, you get a small amount of time. So, we got a full day with him here, which is really, I wouldn't say that put him over the edge, but at least that confirmed a lot of things we knew about him. And I think, we needed some depth at linebacker. The fact he can rush a passer is a huge bonus for that position, and he'll help on special teams. He's a big physical player who's fast, and we need help on special teams too, covering kicks and punts.
Is it unusual for a guy that you've already seen work out come out and meet with you guys, even if he doesn't plan to work out on the field?
Yeah, a little bit. I think most guys figure if I'm not going to work out, but most kids will do what you ask them if you're interested. So I guess I wouldn't say it's unusual. I guess this is such a big geographical area up here with so many college players, both USC, UCLA, and then so many high school players that went to play elsewhere that our pool of players that we want to talk to that don't count against our NFL rules is just a lot bigger in LA. So it may happen more often like that situation. And then Josh Rosen, when he came in, talked to us, same type of thing.
You said it wasn't, it was kind of cool that he's local, but it wasn't why you took him. But is that something you could foresee because of those factors in the future that more and more USC, UCLA local type kids just kind of work out that way?
You know what? If you get a chance to spend some more time with them and you get maybe a better feel, yeah, possibly. But I'll tell you what, it was pretty cool to call him and say, hey, look, you're staying home. Literally, you're staying home, and that's pretty neat.
Tom, Derwin James selected yesterday, leadership. Now, Nwosu is obviously leadership also. What is it about? What are you trying to instill in your team?
Well, I think that's important, but I think you have to realize when guys like those two guys come in here, we have a lot of adults in our locker room right now, so it's going to take some time for those guys to develop into leaders. It's just natural. Like when Derwin walks into that defensive back room, there's Jalil Adai in there and Casey Hayward and Jason Verrett. That's kind of their room. So Derwin will have to kind of grow within that, and I think he'll be a leader for us. There's no doubt about that. But I've seen it a lot. I saw it with, Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning when they came in, where they're going to be leaders for you, but they come in and they're college kids in a locker room with adults who have married, have kids, been in the league for 10 years. So it's different. It takes some time. But Derwin is going to be one of those guys. I think he's got that charismatic personality that people like to follow him. But it's going to take some time. He's still a young player, so.
For the casual fan, day 3 of the draft is kind of an afterthought, but Desmond King, Darius Philon, you guys were able to find productive players. How important is day 3 for your scouting for the back end of the roster?
It's critical, and we look at the board, and obviously a lot of it's picked over at this point. But hey, there's still starters up there. We got to find where they are. Not as many now as there were in the first couple of rounds, but there's starters up there. Every year you see it, we got to find them. So it's the fun part of the challenge is the third day. You got to rely on your scouts a lot more. There's picks coming from all over the place. there's not as much order, that late in the draft. But we're looking for players that have some traits we think that can come in and win a job. They're not going to have every single trait you're looking for, because if they did, they'd be drafted a lot higher. But if we can find the next Desmond King, that'd be great. We got a lot of work to do tomorrow with 4 picks and kind of see where it goes.
Is there one specific character trait that you find in those guys that seems to
Yeah,
pop?
we have a couple things, but
certain positions you're hoping to fill, or spots you're trying to find guys to put in?
yeah, in rounds 4 through 7, we really can't pinpoint positions because it's just a lot harder to do that way. So it really does turn into just players you feel like have enough traits, have a chance to either come in and earn a role, or at the very least come in and have a chance to make your football team. Especially when you get in the 6th and 7th round. Some guys that, hey, this guy's a chance to make our team at this position because of this, this, and this. So, and the way our roster's set up, I mean, I'll be honest, we could use a little bit of depth almost everywhere. So we'll see what we can find tomorrow.
Tom, there's a lot of movement up and down in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, teams trading up, trading back.
Yeah, certainly in the 2nd round.
Were you guys close to doing anything in either direction today?
Yeah, we were on the phone a couple times, potentially doing something, and just worked out the way it worked out. But the 2nd round, there was so much action, it was hard to keep track of. And then we had 2 or 3 things going on at once, and then it's just funny. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's because of you, sometimes it's because of the other team. But we end up sitting and picking both spots. But more action in the 2nd round than the 3rd round.
Can you say if you guys were looking to go up or down?
Not really.
It's a 50-50 guess, I guess.
Yeah, never know. I'm so tired right now, I might just tell you everything.
Justin seemed a
We
little
wore Anthony out.
Justin didn't seem like he expected to go today. What was it about him that stood out to you guys?
A little bit what I said earlier. He's big. He's like almost 6'3", 310, 315 pounds, but really has a lot of quickness and explosion off the ball. And that's the way our defensive tackles, we need them to have some quickness and explosion, and then he plays hard. And that's what we want up front. I mean, Gift Smith does a really nice job teaching our defensive linemen. So a player like him that has some size, he has some quickness, he plays extremely hard, we can work on the technical part of it. And that may take a little bit of time. But, big defensive linemen, those are key guys to get. And we think he's got some potential to, take it even higher.
When you're playing alongside 2 other guys that get drafted in the first 3 rounds like he did at NC State, and you still kind of show on.
Yeah, he showed up. And there's another player there, too, that's really good. That he tore his ACL this past in the offseason. He's a really good player. I mean, they had a really impressive defensive front.
Does that help? If a guy's productive like that around.
What's nice is you can watch them all at once because they're all NFL players and kind of compare them all to each other. Now, some are defensive ends, some are defensive tackles, but it was fun to watch them all together. It's for scouting-wise, it made it very efficient.
Good. All right, thanks, Tom.
All right. Thanks, guys.